You and I are going to learn something about stippling today. I cannot tell you that this is going to be a stippling masterclass, but then again, stippling is a very basic technique. It's not very hard to do. It only gets better by practicing it a lot and being patient. So grab yourself a cup of coffee or your beverage of choice and let's get started. So stippling is preferably done with a pen. I think you can use a pencil, but I don't see the point. More importantly is the size of your pen. So you can see I have a Copic multiliner in a 0.35. I think that's a really good average size for stippling, because it is not tiny dots, because the smaller your dots are, the more you have to make them, but the better your drawing will look. Or at least if you're painting small, you're drawing small, and if you would have huge dots, the drawing would not have the same effect. Let's stick with this one for now. It's a Staedtler. We always say Staedtler. Staedtler pigment liner, 0.5. So we have this pen. And this is the size of dots it makes. What you often see in these tutorial videos are people who prepare boxes like this, or even connect them so that you have box number 1, box number 2, box number 3, and so on, and they show you the different kinds of stippling you can make, like with very few dots, with some more dots, and with even more dots. This is the basic of stippling. If you make less dots, it's lighter. If you make more dots, it gets darker. It's logic. But this is quite a boring exercise. I would not recommend to do this, because this is something you know. You know that this is going to happen. So what I would recommend, just to get into the swing of things, you don't have to start immediately with a perfectly done sketch and then you try to render it with the dots. A really good exercise to start is try to make some abstract dot paintings. So either you make a very simple sketch of smoke or lines or whatever, bubbles, and you fill them in with the dots and see what happens, or you just go on like this, just go with the flow and try and see what works and what happens when. One thing I always notice when doing stippling is that the white areas are always the ones that pop. They pop out. So for example, this is now what I started. You can see I have a little bit darker, and here it is lighter. The dots are spreading apart. So this automatically gets something like a contour for me. So what you can do, if for example you have a specific form of the cloud that you want to take, you can already dot your outlines. Let's say it gets smaller here, Then you have one puffy cloud that finds its way out of the main group. So these are my outlines. And now I can define that shape by making more dots, making it darker. And because my outline was dots as well, it is going to disappear. So you see, this is now a very clear white form in my dot painting, and there's not a single line in there. You can also break the forms up and get into it. You can also for example this. You can see clearly a circle and there's not a single line. Now you can also give this flat circle a little bit of depth, creepy word, depth. I can create a new white outline. So now you have a feeling that there's a sphere that is surrounded by the dots, so you have a light that comes from here. You can also turn the fun around. So that you make circles with very dark collections of dots. You see, the principle is very, very easy. It's very simple. Where there are a lot of dots, it gets darker. Where there are no dots, it gets lighter. So you just have to plan out what you want to have where. And I encourage you to just try and experiment a lot and practice it a lot. It's not difficult. It just needs perseverance and patience. For example, some dotted drawings that I've made recently. This is a Diogenes sketchbook. It's really, really nice. Sketchbook, notebook, lovely paper. This, for example, is a drawing that I have prepared to make it with Stippling. You can see it's going to be this tree of life symbol. I have made this one while riding the bus and the train and coffee shops as well. You can see here, this is where I use this outline thingy, which I've shown you. This outline technique, I've used it here. So I've used it to make it clear that there is the handle of the cauldron by using this way of outlining. Then there's this smoky billowy stuff, and you can see I defined shapes just by working out the details. I've made this one with the 0.35 pen, so it was a smaller pen. My dots are smaller on this drawing. Choose your wand. I decided that I wanted to write the text, but made it with dots as well. And then again, the wands are also a very light pencil sketch. Then I just defined also the material. For example, this one is much more supposed to be dark and woody. Then you have a lighter wood when you get to the tip. And this is a crystal. So I made a little bit clearer lines and less dots on the inside, just to show that this is a different texture than this one. And so on and so on. So, grab yourself a piece of paper, grab a pen, and just start trying out those abstract things, and then get into easy drawings at first, just to get to know how to build up your dots. It is not difficult. You can do this. There's absolutely no difficulty in the technique of stippling. There's only practice and patience. The more you do it, the better you'll get. I hope this tutorial was useful for you and that you've learned something or got motivated to get started. Wish you a lot of success with your stippling, and I hope to see you again on my channel. And I thank you for watching this. Bye! A teacher of mine once told me that if you want to make drawings like cleanup or outlines or stippling, all those that need a steady hand, you should not drink caffeine while doing it. But I'm doing it anyway. So